Hello, hello, hello. Hello, good people. How are you all doing today? Um, am I audible enough? I hope I am audible. How are you all doing? Let me wait for a few people to stream in. My name is Gladys, Miss GK. And do we need more lights? Am I audible? Can you guys see me? Yes, yes. Yeah, that's much better. Thank you. That's my little girl walking in the back there. Yeah. Let me see if I can just find at least a few people. And like the title suggests today, I just want to like talk about a few things that I have seen online that are just like I'm looking and I'm like, I need to talk about this because it just doesn't make any sense. The question I asked is, are car seats important? Must we have car seats for our kids or not? I hope I am audible. Yes? Yeah, I really hope I am audible enough. And that's the question I'm asking here today. Are car seats important? Do we have to have our kids in the car seat? And the answer is yes. Yes, yes, yes. Car seats are important because they can save lives. There's not any other way to put it. Children have to be in car seats in order to save lives. Why? Because when car seats are used effectively, when you use the car seats correctly, 71% of infants are at danger of not being in the car seat between the age of 1 to 4. So is it important for kids to be in the car seat? Yes. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, it estimates that children restraints have saved the lives of 11,606 children under the age of 5 since 1975. And the leading cause of death, car crashes are a leading cause of death for children aged between 1 to 13. Those are the facts that are being presented that I'm looking up. So, are car seats important? Of course, yes. If we can save the children's lives. Why? Because during an impact, for a child, the heaviest part of their body is the head. So if the child is maybe at the back seat and there's an impact happening, so guess what? They are pushed forward. What is the possibility of a child surviving a car crash if they're not in a car seat? It's close to never. So a car seat's important? Yes. Of course, yes. However, 73% of children restraints are used incorrectly, especially infant seats, which are used incorrectly. Imagine there are 84% of car seats being used incorrectly. So choosing the right car seat and putting the child correctly is very important. How many parents buy car seats and properly install them and put them to where they know that the child is safe and secure? That's a question. I have seen so many YouTube videos of people like, just getting in the car with the child not being in the car seat. And I don't know why. I know I reside at the moment in the US. And one of the things that hospitals cannot do is let you go home without a car seat. They will not discharge you from the hospital without a car seat. They actually give you more credit with even like showing that you have gone through some, car seat classes, because, ignorance is the one thing that causes a lot of damage in society. If you're ignorant about something, and the hospitals are good at that, they're good at teaching, and they even have, like, I remember I went for, my daughter is now 13, I mean 15 years ago. I went for classes for the car seat, and I know they're still being sold. They're still being taught. And guess what? After you go through those classes, the incentive was for you to get a free car seat. I got a free car seat for just going for, like, I think it was three classes, and it was like 30 minutes each each class. And at the end of the third class, I got a car seat. I know car seats are expensive, but I've seen them even like in Goodwill, in thrift stores, or even online, even in like Facebook Marketplace. They are very cheap car seats, or even in, like hand-me-downs, because the child uses the car seat for what? I think the first car seat she used was like for 2 years. The infant car seat is about 2 years, or depending with the child's weight. But most car seats are like 2 years. And then after those 2 years, you now graduate to now the one. So you cannot use the same car seat. And you see, even like according to Google, it says 84% of car seats are being used incorrectly, meaning people use incorrect car seats for incorrect car seats for the children, or even the incorrect placement in the car. It is important, honestly, as parents, or even as, as sisters, cousins, brothers of people who have kids, make sure these kids are in a car seat, and how even the car seat is being placed. The instructions are there, or you can even Google the instructions. Make sure the car seat is properly, and it should always be facing backwards for any child between the age of 0 to 2 years. Rear facing. The car seat should not be like this, it should be facing backwards. That's why they even have, like, those nice mirrors. You can put a mirror there and have, um, you can, and then you can see the reflection once you are on the driver's side of the child. And the reason is because, remember, like I said, the head of the child is the heaviest part of their body. If a child during an impact is facing forward, they will most likely, the head will be going fast, displacing their neck and maybe even their backbone. So it's very dangerous. Honestly, it is the most dangerous thing you can ever do, to be in with a child in the car with no car seat. Now, a few things I just want to point out. I will come back again and give examples and show the incorrect ways of car seats, because I feel like I I feel like as Africans, um, we kind of are so daring, and we want to break rules, which is really bad. When you're breaking the rule, you can get away with it, but what are the repercussions? You could only be going maybe like just to the store, which is like 5 minutes away. That's okay. But guess what? Most of the accidents that happen are not even on the major highways. If you look up, most accidents happen in the small streets when your guard is lower. It's not even on the interstate, it's not even on the major highway. Accidents happen in those small streets. I remember I have gotten my tickets not on the highway. I have gotten my tickets for overspeeding on the small streets. So you ask yourself, how come people are, like more stuff, more accidents, more recklessness happens in the small streets? Meaning, even if you're just running to go get milk or to the gas station to just fill up gas, and you have maybe one of the brothers to your son or daughter holding them at the back, then what happens if you get into a crash? Bear that in mind. So it says here that children's safety seats reduce the fatality by 71% for infants and 54% for toddlers when used correctly. Isn't that a significant number? 71% for infants and 54% for toddlers. And actually, I remember even like one of the most important things is you can never ever put the car seat in the front. You know why? When you put the car seat in the front, what if during an impact the seat belt is there, the airbag deploys, and then the airbag most likely will cause more damage to the child who has been placed on the car seat in the front. That's why you should never, ever, ever put the car seat at the front. It should always be at the back and properly secured. These days, car seats have developed so much. I remember uh, now there are even car seats that, has the base. All you're doing is you have the base and then you have the car seat and it clicks on. Oops, it clicks onto the seat. So now car seats have really evolved. It's not like how it was, back in the day. Now it's like technology has improved. Or even you find, the car seats that are converting from the infant to the toddler seat, and then it also has a sleeper, you can even change your child when you've gone roaming wherever. That has also a stroller. So these days it's become very easy. You can easily buy a stroller with a car seat and plus the toddler seat, all three in one. So we have no excuse whatsoever, is all I'm saying. The other thing I wanted to point out is, depending with the law, different states, different countries have different laws about car seats. So or even the states. So make sure you look up and see what is the requirement. Now, the fine, do you know the fine for not having a car seat, depending with the state, is $10 to $500. That is what? Imagine $500 fine for just not having your child in a car seat. Is that worth it? Airlines give you free. You're not even paying for extra luggage for your car seat or stroller. No, because they know that when you're traveling with your child, those are essentials. That is like, it's like milk. When you're thinking about having a child, having a car seat is like milk and diapers. You cannot have a child and not have a car seat. You better just not even have a stroller, but you must have a car seat. And I'm emphasizing this especially for my African people, because I know I have seen so many videos, and I will bring them here so that you can understand where I'm coming from. And people will give excuses. I'm like, okay, so what if you get into a wreck? Are you going to live with the repercussion, with, the aftermath of your child being involved in an accident after things have gone haywire? Are you? That's a big question, because honestly, I feel like people become so careless. Or please comment here and tell me, have you seen people in the car without car seats for their children. Um, One of the other things I wanted to emphasize here is that a baby should not be in a car seat for longer than 2 hours within 24-hour time period. When you're traveling with your child in the car seat, they should not be sitting in that car seat for more than 2 hours. So if you're planning a road trip and you've gotten a very nice car seat, plan your trip knowing that every 2 hours, you're taking this child out of the car seat, letting them relax, letting them stretch, letting them do all that. And the reason is because it says when a baby is in a semi upright position for a prolonged period of time, it can result a strain on the baby's still developing spine. The child's spine is still developing. So if you put a lot of strain for more than 2 hours, you're causing a strain on their spine. The other thing I want to say as far as that is look at the placement of your car seat. Most of those car seats have like a level, a lever, or a level. You know how like that level thing has like, the liquid has to be centered? That is how most car seats come. So you have to make sure that the lever is leveled and it's not on the red. I think it has like a red part and a green part, which means it's good to go. So that's always what you have to make sure that the car seat is placed correctly. Correctly. Okay? Now, that 2 hour rule, the other reason is because the restricted airflow to the babies, it restricts airflow to the baby's lungs if it's prolonged for more than 2 hours. The chances of this can increase if a baby falls asleep with their head flopping forward. So you know how like in the car seat, when it just keeps going forward and the baby is sleeping and you're not even minding to see how the baby is. Look at even me trying to talk with my head like this. See how the airflow is restricted? So you can imagine your baby is at the back and you have them seated like that. It's very dangerous. So just be mindful. And also remember the 80-20 rule. Many manufacturers says that no more than 20% of the car seat can hang over the front edge of the vehicle seat. Some models require that to be 100% footprint, if not, like when the child is tall. So I don't want to get into too many details because the car seat has, like, it comes with all these, different car seats come with different requirements. And even you will now get to see, the weight. And then also as a parent, you can also like, gauge and see. Now, I will come back, like I said, with different videos to like just kind of like just honestly, it's more for me, it's just more on awareness, creating more awareness on what to do. And especially because we are starting the year. And that's one of the things for me that I feel like I have seen so many videos and it just breaks my heart. I know it's it could be looked at like, car seats can be looked at like as luxury item, but very, very important. It is not luxury. This is, it's very important. Oh yes, I have remembered. The other thing I wanted to talk about is um when during an impact, I think I had mentioned, but let me emphasize on that. I remember we did a calculation. And so the question is, what is the possibility of a child surviving of an infant surviving an impact of a car crash without a car seat. An impact of an accident without a car seat. Do you know what that is? Can you guess? I'm Googling because I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be to misinform you guys. Okay, good people. I don't want misinformation. I just want to be clear. Now it says the possibility of an infant surviving a car accident without a car seat is significantly low. Studies show that using a car seat properly can reduce the risk of fatal injury for infant by up to 71%. It still goes back to that. Meaning, what is the possibility? Significantly low means that it's less than 71%. That it's 20 what? 29? Hmm? That there is a 29% chance. Do you know how, that is very scary. That there is a 29% chance of a child surviving a car crash due to not being in a car seat. 29%. There's a very high risk of severe injuries without your child being in a car seat. So, my purpose here today is just to create awareness for any parent out there who carries their child without a car seat. This is just a polite reminder. This 2025, make sure that anytime you're leaving your house, you're going to be in any public or private transportation, make sure your child is in a car seat and make sure the car seat is properly placed. And make sure that the position of the car seat is proper too. If it's rear facing for any child below 2, it should be rear facing. Okay? And yeah, let's just be safe. Let's be safe. Let us be very mindful and let us be very let us come out and help each other. If there's anything that is so important in a baby shower you can give, especially a person who is not able, is less able, is a car seat. And if you have a car seat that you're not using, that could be a good gift to somebody who is about to get a child or is planning to get a child. Which reminds me, I'm a grandmother. So I think I should get my grandbaby a car seat. Yeah. Fine looking grandma, huh? Anyway, that's all from me today. I had earlier tried StreamYard and it's just a lot to navigate, but I will learn and I will use it. I'm not the type to like give up. And yeah, so yeah, we shall come back and try that, because if I was using StreamYard, I could just easily show you all these things and let's have a good presentation, and I would just show you all the examples of what I'm talking about. So that's my goal for this year, to learn StreamYard and to do a lot more of these live videos and just, create awareness of the things that I am noticing on these streets of YouTube that we could do better. So my goal here today is just to remind us that it's important to be safe. Your safety, even yourself, put on your seatbelt and put your child in the seat in the proper placed way. Okay? Otherwise, please like the video, comment and share, And let me know what else you'd like me to talk about. Otherwise, that's all from me today. I hope you guys have a good afternoon, evening, morning. Until the next one, ciao, good people. Bye.